What up, everybody? It's your guys, Jake and Paris at Through the Ropes podcast. And before we get going today, I just want to give a special shout out to our sponsors. We have Great Northern Dispensary. If you need some bud that's better than good, that's great, check out Great Northern. We have Fire Artisan Pizza. We just scarfed some delicious pizza right before we started. And also Fresh Bread Productions. If you need any video or photography done, Paris is the man. You should check out some of the stuff he's doing recently. So today I got a very fun guest with me, a little stud muffin here to my left, Travis Smith. I had the pleasure of meeting him last summer when I was doing a roofing job, and Travis has a pretty awesome story that we wanted to have him come on the show and explain to us a bit about. Travis, how you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. Just kind of hanging out. I was in Helena earlier today and left at 5 a.m. and got back, and now got just in time to order pizza and come here. So it's been a little bit of a long day so far, so... All right, Travis. So we're here talking a little bit about you. Will you explain to us, are you from Great Falls? I know we talked a little bit on the roof there, but do you want to explain a little bit about where you're from and a little bit about yourself?
From Great Falls. I grew up about 30 miles south of Great Falls on a cattle ranch and went to high school at Centerville. So I guess you can kind of say I'm from Great Falls. But yeah, I grew up here. Spent about 4 years in the military, in the Army. Did a year in North Dakota and then ended up back here.
Okay. So growing up in, you said Centerville?
Yeah.
Okay. So did you play any sports or anything like that?
Yeah, I played football. I was actually homeschooled growing up.
Okay.
And the only reason I went to high school was to play football. So that was my deciding factor. And played football, did fairly well at that. Got a football scholarship, went to Rocky my freshman year. Blew my shoulder for the second time. Lost my scholarship. They offered to let me stay. They actually encouraged that, but they're going to drop my scholarship and me from the school insurance, and that being a private school, I was like, no. So transferred to Bozeman, did a few years there, just your average 20-year-old punk behavior. I was just, partying, just wasting my money, just being an idiot, and then ended up in the recruiter's office and joined the Army when I was 20 years old.
So were you going for anything in particular? You just kind of screwing around, just, doing that?
I had to declare a major for the football program, so it was business management, so I just stuck with that, but I had no direction with it. I, just like everybody else, just going to go to school. And then
right. Well, yeah, especially when you're going there for sports specifically,
exactly,
and then you have an injury and all that. So
yeah.
So you end up in Bozeman. Is that where you met the recruiter then, is down in Bozeman? Or?
Yeah, I recruited out of the mall there in Bozeman, Montana, and walked in there one day and kind of felt like there's better men than me and more to lose, giving their lives for our country. And I was like, I'm just some 20-year-old punk just basically pissing my life away right now. So I decided to make something of it, and I scored somehow ridiculously high on the ASVAB test, and he's like, you can pretty much pick any job you want in the Army. And some of them got pretty high enlistment bonuses, and me being who I am, I took the infantry contract with no bonus and ended up at Fort Bragg.
Yeah. So what year was that when you were enlisting?
So it would be 2010 because I was 20 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you had all these opportunities to take a higher paycheck. What made you decide to go with the infantry?
Oh, like growing up, you had typical, boy behavior, growing up playing with G.I. Joes, all this stuff. Like I wanted to be in the infantry because I wanted to fight. I didn't want a support job. Like that's the only thing that really drew me to that. So yeah, there wasn't really any other option at me. Right.
Yeah, it always seems like, as a kid growing up, you want to be like the, the Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever. You want to be the dude, saving everyone and doing all that. So, yeah, I was interested in the military, but it was around that time, and I had a couple of injuries and stuff, so that's when they were downsizing a little bit, so I wasn't as, high up on the list to be able to. Yeah,
I had to jump through a bunch of hoops, too, came in with a hearing waiver and both of my shoulder surgery, so I had to jump through a bunch of hoops, too. And but
yeah, I thought if anywhere safe to go when I was busy getting in trouble was the military, and by the time I decided to go, they were kind of like, your record isn't as exciting now. So, well, that's cool, man. So you did 4 years, and what did you do as an infantryman? Where did you go? What did you do?
Yeah, so any infantryman starts out at Fort Benning, Georgia. That's where their OSUT is, one site unit training. So, like, if you chose a different MOS, you'd go to basic training, and then you'd go somewhere else for specialized schooling, like AIT. What they call it. So, but with the infantry, you just knock it all out at once. So I was there at Benning, and I scored high on my PT test, and I outshot everybody one day at the range, and the drill sergeants came to me and like, hey, we got a few airborne slots. Do you want them? And I was like, absolutely. So I ended up picking up an airborne contract in basic, Graduated basic. Jump school still at Fort Benning, so same place. I think I went on a month hold there, waiting for the next class to open up. Jump school is 3 weeks. Got my jump wings, waited for orders, ended up at Fort Bragg in North Carolina, and I did 4 years there.
Okay. And then, so post-military, were you always in this good of shape, this type of physique? And
I was always fairly athletic. I mean, I take that back. I was never the most athletic person in the room. That's why I excelled at football, but I was like trash at basketball. I got no coordination. But
okay.
I guess the only reason I was so good at football is I found my way in the weight room at a really young age, and I just fell in love with it. And just the physical aspect of that, I've always been drawn to the weight room, trying to get bigger, I guess. And
yeah. So were you running a heavy gun then in the military? What were you doing?
Yeah, so I showed up my unit, and they had just got back from a deployment. I actually missed going over to them while they were in southern Afghanistan when I got to my unit. And they call it Rear Detachment, and they had about 4 weeks left of their deployment. So instead of sending me over there, it was kind of a waste of time. Sometimes they do that. If you have like half the deployment left, they'll send a new guy over there. So I just waited for them to show up. They came back from their deployment, and that's a really bad time in the 82nd to be a new guy without a combat patch, no respect. So got smoked a lot for no reason, and then it came time after a few weeks to sign me like a legit role in the platoon. And they're like, okay, you're going to be the RTO, which is the radio transmitter operator. Basically, you walk around with your platoon leader and hold the radio and talk for him when he's busy, whatnot. I'm like, that might not be the best idea. I came in on a hearing waiver, and then they called me a liar, and then they smoked me, and then I pulled out my medical paperwork, and they're like, oh, actually, you are kind of deaf. Maybe that's not the best idea. So
for people that don't know, what is getting smoked in the military? Just
it's technically frowned upon now, but at the time the 82nd didn't play by big Army rules.
Yeah.
So it's just a form of hazing. So like push-ups, sit-ups, flutter kicks, just the most excruciating like workouts you've ever done in your life by yourself while you're getting screamed at.
Right. Everyone else is going about their day.
Yeah.
You're getting yelled at.
And then you're just in the company area just getting, smoked and just sweating, and it's 8:30 in the morning, and then some other NCO would come over from a different platoon and just jump into. It was fun for them, and like it's the hazing ritual, but
when everyone went through that I'm would assume that walked through those doors were dealt with some. I'm not saying necessarily all hazing is right, but something like that where you're literally testing men and women to see what their physical and mental breaking points are. Like there are certain steps and certain social norms, I believe, that need to be left at the door. And some of those things like. That's what they're there for, is to see if you're ready. So,
well, at the time, at a brand new private, like you just get that tunnel vision, like, oh my God, my new NCOs, team leaders, squad leaders, platoon leaders, they hate me, they're singling me out. But like, there's the method behind it too, some reason behind the madness. Like while they're doing that too, they're quizzing you on military information, while they're doing that, so they're getting a feel for you too. So
yeah, well, and just making sure once again that you can handle these intense situations and be able to logically think and to problem solve, under these type of pressures. So what did were you always, like I was saying, were you always this kind of big? So was it like was that hard on you physically when you had to go hours or days not eating much and all this physical activity? And
so I was always a bigger dude, especially in the 82nd. Like everybody is about 5'10" to 6 foot, and they weigh like 160, 180 pounds. So they're all phenomenal runners. And I've never been a good runner. So I'd always fall out every Monday morning. We had a 6-mile fun run or detox run, they call it. I'd fall out every one of those. But the second they put a ruck on me, like I'd out-ruck the whole company every time. Yeah. So I finally found something I was kind of good at, and kind of like whenever we had like ruck PT, I was so thankful that it wasn't like running or the CrossFit style like workout, but.
And that's kind of me. I'm not, I messed my heel bone up when I was 23, and it's like, I can't run worth a shit now, but it's like, I'll hike all day with some weight on me. It's like, I feel more comfortable in those positions, like going uphill with weight on me, than trying to lightly jog on flat ground. So it's kind of crazy that something that's kind of, I don't know if you want to say used as a measurement of pain in the military transitioned kind of for you to what you're doing now with your ruck thing with Montana Bravery, you said?
Big Sky Bravery.
Big Sky Bravery, sorry about that. So can you kind of talk about that a little bit and how this became a thing? And like I said, usually carrying around 60 to 70 pounds in the military is like, people don't usually look forward to it, but you're kind of...
Yeah, that was my little corner of the realm there where I excelled at, so I kind of leaned into that. But probably almost 10 years ago now, I got a really good friend, Sam Machino, who's been volunteering with Big Sky Bravery for a while. And then a bunch of us went on a float trip on the Yellowstone, and I was sitting on the back of the raft with him, and he just brought up a few things kind of casually. And then I kind of started digging a little bit more and found out that he's actually been volunteering for Big Sky Bravery. And then I kept asking him questions, and then he just kind of gave me the laydown of what exactly Big Sky Bravery does, you know, what they stand for. He's volunteering, what that entailed, and everything. And
yeah, break that down a little bit. Like, what's their mission statement?
So, Big Sky Bravery is a nonprofit organization. They're based in Belgrade, right outside of Bozeman. They used to be right next to Four Corners, but they just moved this year, or last year, I guess. They got the new office pretty close to the airport now. But they're a 100% nonprofit organization, and their sole mission is to provide like retreats. It's not exactly vacation, but they bring out only active duty special forces guys and women. They send them up to Big Sky for these week-long decompression programs. They call them task forces. So I actually had the privilege last August of being asked to be a volunteer in one of them, and it was life-changing. Like, Big Sky Bravery's got a slogan, or a motto, if you will, to always give more than you take. They've got it, you know, all over their office. If they've sold a few, you know, I think shirts or stickers too, like that. But they're big on give more than you can take, give more than you take. So I had that back in my mind. That whole task force I was a part of last summer, and honestly, I tried to give more than I took, and I feel like I did. In the program, like, I felt like I got more than the recipients did, honestly. Yeah. So
when you see different types of bravery expressed in different ways,
So it was just me, one of my best friends, Seth Thomas, and then I got to know Weston, the other volunteer, a lot more. And then they brought 3 guys out, supposed to be 4, but the other dude, his deployment rotation changed a little bit, and I think he had to deploy earlier, or else they would have brought 4 guys out. And yeah, we went up to Big Sky. First day, we rented some side-by-sides, went up on the mountain, drove those around, went on a little hike. Had dinner that night. Second day, we hiked up to Lava Lake. Those guys loved it. They're all from the East Coast, so seeing the mountains, and it was just like
real mountains.
Yeah, it was like the most like picture perfect. Like, it didn't seem real. Like, we climbed all the way up to Lava Lake, and it was so like fogged in. And as soon as we got up to the lake, like, you could only see maybe 40, 50 yards. And then like within 30 minutes, like all the fog just slowly lifted, and there's just this beautiful, like, you know, lake up in the middle of the mountains. The guys loved it. It was so cold though, but those 3 dudes jumped in. I'm like, oh, well, now I got to get in.
I can't let them, how to say, just show me up like that.
So 2 of those guys just spent probably an hour out there in the water, and it was freezing, but went up there. What did we do the third day? Oh, we had a guided fly fishing trip too. That was a lot. I never fly fished before, and the numbers worked out great. So 3 recipients, 3 volunteers. So they just teamed us up with their own guide and their own boat. And obviously, those guys being those type of dudes they are, and the 3 of us too, like, obviously everything kind of came into a competition really quick, so you could catch the most fish. And I've never fly fished before. I didn't know what he was doing, but it was just a beautiful day, a lot of fun. Went down to Willie's Distillery, had dinner in Ennis. And then the 4th day, Jamie McCafferty, that owns True North Athletic Therapy, also is an instructor for Tactic in Bozeman. They got a big range. They run a bunch of like firearm classes and stuff like that. They teach a bunch of classes, and they're really involved with like concealed carry classes, different level handgun, AR classes, whatnot. Okay. And it's also owned by a former Navy SEAL.
Nice.
But Weston and Jamie are pretty good friends. So Jamie set up a whole day of shooting handgun and long gun for us. Not too far from Four Corners, their range was at. So
you want to talk about a competition between some guys, especially to get a gun in you guys' hands.
Exactly. So that got competitive pretty quick too, but it was still a lot of fun too.
Well, what's fun about stuff like that is, I don't know, different forms of. I didn't make it in the military, but I did the wildland firefighting, and I just loved which had a lot of ex-military people, and I just love being able to just kind of talk shit.
Yeah, right.
And just have a good, and it's just like whether you know the person or not, I feel like busting your people's balls or whatever you want to call it, busting someone's ribs or whatever. It's like that always translates. I feel like to people, so that's good. And so they're taking active duty special forces people, and this is just like to get them just a break from
just a break from their normal day-to-day careers, because most of these men and women they're career special forces operators. They'll do 20, 30 years at least.
Yeah.
And typically where these guys and women come to Big Sky Bravery from, and the thing is, you got to get selected by your chain of command.
I was going to ask, so how does the selection process go? On
I can't 100% speak for it.
Okay.
But from what I understand is Big Sky Bravery is pretty well known in the Special Forces community. Okay. So to my knowledge, a lot of these guys as commanding officers will typically recommend or suggest sending them or putting them on the, I don't exactly know how the list or the selection process goes or whatnot, but it's a lot of the guys that, done deployment back to back, the high risk guys, for burnout, the guys going through divorces, dealing with some stuff. So typically it gets recommended that
so you don't want to say not necessarily red flags, but just some things that could be potentially cautionary moving forward.
Without sounding like they're high risk or anything
that's why.
But I think their commanding officers find the guys that would benefit the most from it. I think,
and that's why I didn't want to say red flag, because that's a shitty, that can get a bad look on that. But just people that just could use a little bit of a break.
Exactly. And a lot of these guys are either coming right back from a deployment or they're about to head to one.
Okay.
So, and I think what's really great about Big Sky Bravery is they only help active duty special forces, men and women. So it's not like after you get out of the military fact, like a veteran program. Like they're keeping these people in the fight.
Right.
And if you go to their website, bigskybravery.org, and start reading through some of the testimonials or whatnot, like they've made massive movements, like changes in the culture in the special forces community. Like I read a few like, hey, when I showed up to this program, I was suicidal. When I left, I wasn't. They were like, I read another one's like, Big Sky Bravery straight up saved my marriage. Like these guys have made massive impacts in the special forces community.
Well, and it just, I appreciate that in this day and age, I'm sure it's still hard getting like tough men to share, but I feel like in a scenario like that where it's a couple of you in a secluded kind of thing, it's a little bit easier to maybe, when you're not around a bunch of the general public who has no idea of like what you guys want to do. So it's a little easier to.
Most of these guys have probably never been to Montana before, and then you go up to Big Sky and it's just beautiful, and it's just like that's got its own like restorative or like healing process, if you will, as
prolific.
And then you get three, I don't want to say random or just normal guys, but three or four men, or because they got women task forces too, women special operators go out too. So like you just get a group of like the three of us, out there just being like, we care, we want to support you guys, we want you to have a really good week, anything you need, food, rides, just let us know, we'll do the cooking, we'll do the cleaning, just relax.
So that was
this week.
Your job as a volunteer is just kind of helping what you just listed, and then just kind of listening, and talking.
We facilitate all the rides, plan everything.
That's cool.
We wake up in the morning, we do the cooking, we do the cleaning, make sure everything they got is covered, anything they want. And then the end of the night, they've got these questions of the night. So I think we're up there for 4 or 5 nights. So you got 4 or 5 questions. And Big Sky Bravery, again, I can't 100% say this is exactly what happened, but from what I understand, is they brought in a team of mental health experts and actually kind of fine-tune these specific questions that they ask at the end of the night to kind of open up that dialogue, kind of break down some of those walls, make you somewhat vulnerable, kind of think. And they're not directly like strictly military related, but like you got to answer the questions. You got to literally become a little bit vulnerable. Yeah. And then, once you go around the room, everybody answers those questions, man. And then the dialogue and the conversations that follow that are they're pretty amazing.
Well, and once again, I think it's cool that there's a place where they're not surrounded. I was never in the military, but I have a lot of good friends and family that were, and it just people that don't understand that. Yeah, there's just, war is dirty and it's bad and it's scary, and not like it's bad, but our guys have seen a lot of stuff, so I appreciate that there's a spot, like I said, where you guys can all go together, where you don't have people who can't necessarily understand what you guys went through and what you're currently going through as well. So it's cool, man. It sounds like I watched your video a while back, and then I just recently followed those guys and started kind of paying attention to their story. So I want to do a little more deep diving on them, and maybe down the road it'd be awesome to maybe have one of the co-founders or whatever on the show. That'd be fun. So
just let me know.
So how did you translate this experience? How long ago was this when you went to 10 years ago, you said, or?
I did the task force last August.
Okay, sorry. You did the float like 10 years. Okay.
Yeah, that's where I first met the volunteers. I got you. Yeah.
So then how did this translate, this experience that you had with these guys, to this ruck What's the challenge called there? Is it a challenge or
So I named it the Patriot Ruck.
Okay.
So I came up with the idea maybe 10 or 15 years ago in the back of my mind to just, because I was good at rucking and I wanted to raise money or awareness for veteran suicide or try and help out the veteran community or just do something, help give back somehow. Mm-hmm. So I kept kicking around the idea or whatnot, and then I met Sam Machino, that volunteer at Big Sky Bravery, found out about them, and then one of my best friends, Seth Thomas, actually ended up working for Big Sky Bravery. So now I got two people there that I already know. They're feeding me a lot more information, and now that Seth works there, I got a lot bigger insight to it, and then all the pieces kind of fell together, and I had this idea of doing a ruck, and I'm like, I want to do this for Big Sky Bravery. Like I finally found the organization or where I would want, and I didn't know at the time either if I'd raise $100 or like, you know, maybe $1,000 if I was lucky or something. Like I didn't want it to go into somewhere where somebody was making money off of it either. Mm-hmm. You know, I wanted it to be meaningful.
Well, something near and dear to you.
Yeah,
already,
exactly.
So
and then I fell in love with Big Sky Bravery, their mission set, the people there are so nice. Like the best people you ever meet in your life is the staff at Big Sky Bravery. And then, yeah, I got thinking a little bit more and more about it, and then I pitched the idea to one of my sponsors, Jamie McCafferty, that owns True North Athletic Therapy, and she's just a mess. She's the smartest woman I know, hands down, and she's worked at the X Games, phenomenal, you know, athletic trainer. She trained me for the tactical games, so I told her the idea, and she's like, I'm 100% on board. And she's like, I don't know much about rucking, but I can keep you healthy and moving. I'm like, perfect, I need that.
I bet it's rucking fun.
Yeah. So kicked around the idea for a while, like, do I want to make it like, do I set a mile? Do I want to go 20 miles? Do I want to go 40 miles? But in the back of my mind, I'm like, what happens if I absolutely crush this goal of, let's say, 40 miles and I still got gas in the tank? I don't want to feel like I shorted myself. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to design it in a way that would keep people interested and hopefully that they would want to donate and be interested in too. And then I'll just like, what if I just go for 24 hours? Like, see how far I make it. Because a lot of, like, it's kind of like intimidating if you think about it, because most people can't even stay up for 24 hours, let alone doing something physical that whole time too. So I picked a weight. I went with 45 pounds dry, picked 24 hours, found a route, and then started training. Yeah.
So then so 45 pounds is the pounds that you did with the Patriot Ruck?
Yeah, last year, 45 dry. So when somebody says for, like, you know, a weight for a ruck and they say dry, that just means how much the ruck weighs with like just your packing list without food or water. You know, you could take socks, clothes out here or there, but like it'll never get lighter than 45. Lighter than that. But with water and some food I take with me, it could probably weigh up. I probably averaged about 55 pounds for the ruck.
Yeah, because when we used to do our firefighting challenge, you had to do like 3 miles in 45 minutes with 50 pounds on. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that was it's crazy too, the transition of between like a weighted vest that you have on versus like a well strapped like pack and stuff like that.
Just the weight distribution too. Like you got half of it up front, and then you put everything on 2 straps hanging off your back too. It's a totally different experience.
Yeah, it does a number on the shoulders for sure.
Oh, I know.
So, if anyone knows, you know. So then how did you start to go about making this like a fundraiser thing? Did you ask Big Sky Bravery to kind of help you out?
Yeah, I reached out to them early on and even asked if they wanted me to do this. And they're like, yeah, absolutely. And I asked them how they wanted me to do this. And they're like, basically like, your idea, your reins, just whatever you bring in, we'll be thankful for that.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right. I was kind of open for some direction or some guidance maybe. I don't know if just make it easier on me or whatnot.
They're like, you got it.
Yeah, it's all you, Travis. I'm like, all right. So luckily I had Jamie on my team, and we brainstormed quite a few ideas. And then we got Matt Ennis on board. So he did a lot of the promotion for us, took a lot of pictures.
Okay. I've seen some of his stuff. He does some really good work.
Yeah,
I've heard some good things about him.
So the publicity side of it, if it wasn't for Matt, I guarantee it would have never been nearly as successful as it was. So thank God for Matt Ennis. And got Matt on board, took some pictures, did a couple videos for me, some like promotional stuff, and it just kind of blew. I don't have Facebook, but I just kind of blew up on Instagram too. We made some flyers, put some like a QR code on it. Mm-hmm. Takes you right to Big Sky Bravery's website where the donation page is. So like it was a pretty streamlined process for anybody that wanted to donate.
Okay.
And then kind of just try to blow it up on social media. I went to business for a few weeks, handing out those flyers, tried to promote it on Instagram as much as I could, telling people about it, and then the day of, I think we crested over 16,000, and then we kept it open for a couple weeks afterwards, and I think the total was just over 17,000 we raised.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
What did that?
Cool.
I mean, what an awesome feeling, dude. So, it's the power of social media, dude. It's so crazy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's crazy how that kind of shit works, and when you start like catching a little bit of traction. So, how long were you raising funds for?
I think we finally launched it probably 6 to 4 weeks before the actual ruck, and then it stayed open for a while afterwards too.
Okay, but 17 grand, dude, that is just so insane. So do you know about how much it costs them to bring someone in? I mean, if it's okay.
I have those numbers somewhere.
Yeah. But I mean, how many people did you just supply a trip with, just off of like one thing?
So Allison Keller, one of the main ladies at Big Sky Bravery, I love her to death. She broke it down that the Ruck brought in enough funds to pay for 2 full recipients for the whole week.
Wow.
And I believe 2 or 3 more flights.
Yeah.
There, the way she broke it down.
Yeah.
So we covered 2 dudes or women, wherever the funds went, for the whole week, and then flights for 3 more people.
That's so cool, dude. That's definitely leaving more than you took, I would say.
Yeah.
And it's just starting, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the video I watched, man, just let people know, I met you this last summer. We did a roofing job together, and I was like, this dude's a fucking monster, bro. You were so huge. I was like, Jesus Christ.
I didn't feel like it packing some of those shingles.
Oh, dude, well, that's tough, dude. If you haven't done it, I mean, my feet were torched by that second day, dude. Paul said that was a 5 pitch, but I think that was at least like a 6 pitch roof. I don't know, Paul. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, it was fun, dude. And I got to know you. And I mean, you told me, like, I mean, you have a crazy hit, not crazy, but I mean, ex-military. You worked in the police force. You worked with K9 dogs too, right?
No, I worked at the sheriff's office here.
The sheriff's.
I made a big push for that K9 program.
Yeah.
But it never panned out when my time was up there.
Yeah. Well, and it just was like, I was like, holy shit, dude. I felt like we covered so much ground. And then, like, I went home, added you on Instagram. And then I saw that whole story with you in the Big Sky Bravery. And that video that Matt did, it was, I don't know what the word would be, but it was just like it was good. It was well shot. When I was just like, I mean, it's like about a half hour, isn't it? 25 minutes or something like that?
I think it's about 15 or 13 minutes, something like that.
It felt like it was just so good, dude. I was just, riveted by it. Just the photography was really good, and just, what you had to say about, your mission statement with Big Sky Bravery. It was a really good video.
I'll give all the credit to wherever it's belonged. Like, Matt killed it on that. He flew up one of his good friends, George Mason, from California to do a lot of the videography for that. That's what he does. Mm-hmm. And between Matt and George, man, like, they killed it on that.
Yeah. Well, and I felt like I was in pain just watching you do it. You know what I mean? But I was like, I could get behind. The one thing where I was like, hell yeah, I can get behind that is like, I think it was after your first or second round, you were eating like a big ass bowl of spaghetti and meatballs. Yeah. And I was like, all right, if I can eat something like that every turnaround, then maybe we'd talk about it. So, was it? I mean, what was the hardest part for you, doing the ruck or raising the money? I feel like raising money is hard as hell sometimes. I did the one for the school, and it was fun, but not easy.
Yeah. Obviously, I knew it was going to be hard. I designed it to be physically hard. And I wanted it to be physically and mentally hard on purpose. That's why I designed it to be that way.
Yeah.
I did that mostly because, like, you're in the military, at some point or another, you're going to put the ruck on your back, right? So I feel like the recipients would also understand what I went through if they found out about that. So I didn't want, anybody can just write, like a $10,000 check, especially, the amount of wealth that's like up in Big Sky and around Bozeman. Like, anybody can write that check. But I wanted these guys and women to know that it wasn't just a donation. Like, somebody went out there and earned every cent of that. Mm-hmm. And I 100% believe I did. So I knew it was going to be hard. I trained for it to be hard. I was expecting that. So the ruck was hard, yes. But I put so much pressure on myself because I set a goal of $10,000. I'm like, what if we come up short? So in the back of my mind, I didn't tell anybody about this beforehand, but I'm like, at the end of that 24 hours, if we haven't hit 10 grand, like, I'm just going to keep walking.
Yeah.
So I rounded the corner at 24 hours, and then Allison showed me, the tracker on the phone she had, and I think we're like at set 16.7 or something, $16,000. I'm like, oh, thank God we're over 10. I can stop now. But yeah, I put a lot of pressure on myself. It was unnecessary, but.
Well, and pressure, like, I don't know, I'm really bad about it. My wife would contest that, but it's just, or attest to that. But it's like, I put a weird amount, I'm like so chill about so much shit, but then I like put this like insane amount of internal pressure on myself for different things. When it's like, just it's just weird shit sometimes, or something like that, where you just like want to show how much you care about this and want it to succeed. What was it like? I mean, our first out, because you were doing 5 mile turnarounds.
Yeah, the way I had trained is about every 5 miles I'd stop, take a little break, change my socks, eat something, make sure I was good on water, and then I kept going. Because you let your feet slip, go for 15, 20 miles, let them get all sweaty, and that's when the blisters, as long as you take care of your feet, you can pretty much push through anything on a ruck. So taking care of your feet is pretty much the most important thing. So that's the way I trained leading up to it. And then the route I made down in Belgrade worked out perfectly. I started at Big Sky Bravery where they're located, went out like 2.5 miles, came back, that was 5 miles. And then from Big Sky Bravery to a gym there kind of by Four Corners called Prime. I know the owner now, but I know one of their main trainers there. He gave us the key to the building. They're like, do whatever you need. Thank God for them, because we really needed that building in the middle of the night. But it was about 4.5, 5 miles from Big Sky Bravery to that gym. And then from the gym basically to Belgrade and back was almost exactly 2.5 miles. So like it broke down in little 5 mile increments, and just like an L shape, if you will.
Okay, I was gonna say, were these kind of going off in different directions then?
And the whole length of Jackrabbit from like Four Corners to Belgrade, they've got like a River's Edge trail like we do, like a little walking trail, and it's perfect. It was like 40 feet off the road. Didn't have to worry about traffic in the middle of the night. Just me, dry, flat. Like it was just a perfect little setup.
Well, it was nice that you kind of had that changing scenery, because that could be mentally tiring too, of 24 hours of the same, like just 4 miles back and forth.
And then you can see the bridges and whatnot all around Bozeman. So it was, we got rain, we got hail, we got wind. Like I saw all the seasons in about 24 hours, but it could have been a lot worse for the end of,
Yeah, it looked like you got a little wet there in the middle.
It hailed there for a little bit, pretty hard, and rained, but I think considering that time of the year, we got off pretty lucky with the weather. Yeah,
so then, just what was that? You start off with, butterflies and excitement and just,
I took off. That first 5 miles, like training so much, I got used to like what my pace should be. Dude, I went way too fast in that first 5 miles. I come in, Jamie's like, that was fast. I'm like, yeah, I need to calm down a little bit. And then
when you want to show people, like, all right, I'm here.
All that hype there, kind of let that out, and then kind of got into a stride. And then I met a bunch of people. I had no idea a bunch of these people existed. People I didn't even know existed started showing up, wanted to walk with me, and I was just like, yeah, absolutely. And in the back of my mind, I thought it'd kind of slow me down, trying to have to like talk with somebody, especially like getting to know somebody you don't know on a ruck. I'm like, I want to just kind of put my headphones in, get in a zone the way I trained. But honestly, having all those people with me, I think there's only 2 legs I walked the whole ruck by myself.
That's cool.
Having all those people with me, especially towards the end of the ruck, like in the middle of the night, like 3 o'clock in the morning, where everything hurt really bad, just having like 2 or 3 other dudes with me, like they're talking about stuff, giving each other shit, laughing or whatever, and I wasn't talking all that much because I was suffering pretty bad, but like just disengaging a little bit, kind of took my mind off of feeling sorry for myself. And I think I would have been in a way worse place mentally without all those people with me.
Well, and when you're just solely listening to your headphones, you're allowing your head to go to some weird places because you're looking way more inward.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, and versus even though you weren't participating in the conversation, you're keeping your brain busy just by hearing what they're saying, and it kind of, especially if it's a couple of dudes, fucking around and talking shit and stuff. It's like, that would be the kind of stuff that if I was feeling like I was dying, that would give me life.
Yeah, it made a huge benefit, made a huge difference to me having those people there.
That's awesome.
What did you use to mic's not working. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, my mic's not working. What did you use to like supplement yourself? Like water, obviously. Did you have any like caffeine or anything?
Yeah, I took I had a Camelback with me. I thought about taking more water than I needed to, but then I was like, every 5 miles I can take a break. So I didn't take a whole bunch of water with me. Jamie lined out through Essential Health there in Bozeman. They hooked me up with a bunch of IVs. So I think I ended up getting like 3 IVs through the day and night. And poor Jamie, she got a crash course the day before on giving IVs. So the day of, like the second or third time she's ever given anybody an IV was me in the middle of the ruck.
Hell yeah.
So, and I think those made a huge difference, having a couple of those IVs on board. And I think one was loaded with a bunch of like B12 vitamins and stuff too.
I was going to say, was it from like a healing kind of rejuvenation?
Yeah, they had those options with some of those too. So Jamie had everything to a T dialed out for me as far as nutrition. God bless that woman. She cooked all the food for me the days leading prior to it. She logged everything besides water that I consumed the whole day.
Wow. Did you have like a caloric intake you were trying to hit? Did you take, how often did you take a break? Was it after
It was about every 5 miles. So it was about every hour, 10, hour, 20 minutes. I was taking a break.
Okay. So sometimes you're at a facility and other times you're just out in the middle of your...
The way that L-shaped route lined it up, I either took my break at Big Sky Bravery at their old headquarters or that gym.
Okay.
And then I'd hit each break or checkpoint, if you will, twice on the way I was walking.
Yeah. So based on, I mean, you're freaking huge, dude. You're stacked. So were you trying to start off a little bit lower in like your caloric intake and then as it progressed, or were you trying to just hit a certain type of,
I ate as much food as I could the day before, and then Jamie fed me every single break.
So she kind of had it all set up for you, what she was trying to get into you.
And she is so smart with that kind of stuff too. So
okay.
I knew she had that on lock. It wasn't a worry for me at all.
So she knew kind of what you needed based on just kind of your body build and what you'd been training for and everything. So
and then I obviously have a crazy high caffeine tolerance to begin with, but she pulled back the reins on that just for my not trying to crash my central nervous system, if you will, or I can't even remember the exact reason she told me, but I didn't actually consume hardly any at all caffeine during the ruck until like maybe the last leg, which blew my mind because that's what I'd been running off of training leading up to it. But yeah, she had like protein shakes lined out for me, food. And then I had a few snacks with me too, but I don't think I actually ate while I was rucking. I just drank water.
So when did you really kind of start to feel like, okay, I'm not feeling as awesome as when I started this challenge?
Leading into the ruck, the longest one I did training was just over, I think it was like 20 or 21 miles. But I took like 70 pounds with me and it just destroyed me for weeks. But it was actually on my birthday, so it was February 10th last year I did that ruck. It was 20 miles at 70 pounds, and I hit that mental threshold like at mile 14, where I was just like, I'm done. So I pushed through those next 6 miles. I got home and finally figured out, like, all right, I can get to that point where my body's screaming for me to quit, everything hurts, and I can keep going. Mm-hmm. I didn't know I won at that point, but I knew, like, I can do this.
Yeah.
So the farthest I'd gone leading into this was 20 miles. And the first 5 legs, I hit 20 miles of the ruck. And I was just like, I'm actually feeling pretty good. I'm like, I think I can actually do this. So that's the farthest I'd rucked before. And then every mile after that was just the farthest I'd ever rucked. But I hit right around the 20 or 25 mile mark, I think. My hamstrings just blew up for no reason.
And how many hours at that point were you?
At 20 miles, I started about 8 in the morning, so this was probably around 2 or 3 in the afternoon.
Shit.
My hamstrings literally felt like they were just going to pull off the back of my legs and just disappear. But we got back to Big Sky Bravery headquarters. She's got those Normatec boots, those compression ones. Yeah, she threw me in that, moved a bunch of that fluid around or whatever, did some manual stimulation on my hamstrings. That's when I got that first IV, slammed some food, some water, and then I felt like I just started rucking again. So I was just like, all right, cool. It's good to know, like, we get into a bad spot, Jamie can fix me.
Right.
Get me back out there. And that's exactly what she did.
And damn, man. Yeah, that video is pretty intense. For anyone that hasn't seen it, they should go check out Travis's page, man. It's really cool and it's inspiring, and it just, I love seeing stuff like that. It just seeing what, people can push themselves through. I mean, obviously you're a very physical fit person, but that's no easy task, being able to straight carry 50 pounds for 24 hours. So.
Yeah.
So how did these people that were joining you on your walk, how did they hear about this? You said you were promoting it a bit.
Yeah, and then I was trying to promote it on Instagram. I don't have Facebook, but I know it got pushed out on Facebook too. Jamie pushed it out through True North. Matt Ennis helped out on his page. I tried to bully all my friends into sharing as much stuff as they could for me. So I spread as much as I could out on social media, and then we printed off those flyers. I think we printed out like 1,000 of them. Jamie took a huge stack, passed them around Bozeman. I took them to as many businesses, gave stacks to friends. I had them plastered all over work.
Nice.
So I pushed it every angle that I could think of beforehand going into it. But I definitely think social media was the big drive on that.
Yeah.
And then Big Sky Bravery finally got on board too, because they didn't really know or understand, I think, until I started, on how much of an impact that ruck had the potential of making.
The scope of the entire...
I don't think they really understood how much I had invested into this physically and emotionally, and how determined I was. Like, I was going to crawl if I had to.
Yeah.
I was going to make it that 24 hours. I was going to move somehow. And I think they realized that, like, around 3 or 4 hours in, and then they really started pushing it, like, on their page too. And they were very supportive, and nice and kind leading up to it. But I think the day of, they finally kind of took a big, like, oh God, this guy's for real.
Right. Well, and I mean, saying that you're going to do it for 24 hours, then actually doing that,
Yeah.
two completely different things. So maybe they were kind of like, is he really going to do
we were like,
that?
not too sure about this guy, but yeah.
So then, were these people that joined you on your walk, were they ex-military, or were some of them just people just wanting to come support the military in general?
Yeah, my brother walked with me. Sam Machino, that other volunteer, he walked with me a lot of the night. I think Sam did about 15 or 20 miles with me. Another volunteer named Steele showed up. A couple girls that I knew show up and walked with me. Jamie did a lake with me. My brother walked with me for a while. My good friend Seth. So.
And were they all rucking, or was it just very...
Everybody had a ruck with them. I took an extra one with me just in case, but people showed up with hunting packs. Like,
that's so cool.
Yeah. People I'd never met before. Like, we were walking out the door. I'm like, what's your name? He's like, my name's Steele. I'm like, cool.
Sweet, we're out.
Yeah. Because leading up to it, I really wanted to make it like a big event, but I just didn't know how the logistics of it. I had never done one myself. So finally I decided just to, blaze that first path by myself.
Yeah.
Establish it. And then this year we're trying to make it a pretty big thing.
I've been seeing a lot of people, like I tagged you in like something just on my Instagram story, but I feel like I've been seeing a lot of people like tagging stuff or like posting stuff.
Yeah.
And it's, tagging you, and it's like, damn, dude, it seems like you've already built something kind of, I don't want to say insane, but it seems like it's got one hell of a following. I see the one dude with the pit vipers. He's always making me jealous. He's got such sick pit vipers. But yeah, it just seems like you're already building this really cool culture and a following just off of something that, is, you did, I don't know if you want to say for fun, but out of, necessity for something you saw that was an important need. So
this year, we're thinking about doing like a 3-hour, a 6-hour, and a 12-hour ruck for other people that want to jump in and get involved. And then,
are you gonna do like a fee like for $30?
That's a couple of those details that we still got to iron out with Big Sky Bravery.
I think people would gladly do that.
I do too, but I think from my opinion, I think it'd be great to like, hey, you do the ruck, you sign up for the ruck. It's kind of, you're not obligated, but it's like strongly encouraged that you just get out and kind of do the same approach I did. Just push it out as much as you can, raise as much money as you can as well too.
Right, and then just kind of bring it all as like a collective at that point.
And then Sam voiced that he wants to do the 24 hours with me, so me and Sam are going to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And Sam is just a beast. Like, I think I'm going to have a hard time keeping up with him.
Yeah. Is he as huge as you are?
He's taller. I might be slightly, thicker, but he is just a phenomenal athlete and one of the greatest human beings I've ever met in my life. Like, the dude can just wake up off the couch, haven't trained in a month, and go run like an ultra marathon and probably win.
I'm jealous of
He's that kind of person. Yeah.
So what kind of response did you get like post doing the ruck challenge, like from just military people and just the general public alike?
As far as from like a military aspect, these recipients kind of at some point cease to exist. Most of them don't have social media, but I didn't ever want to get any recognition or thanks for them. I just wanted to raise as much money as I could. Because these are like, the silent professionals. Like, they do all the stuff that you'll never hear about. You know what I mean? I just wanted to help. I didn't want a thanks from them. And I never will take anything I won't want to earn anything from this either. But like, even the day of the ruck and the days following, like my Instagram was just blown up with messages. I don't know if cocky or arrogant or anything, but like it was slightly overwhelming. Cause I'm like trying to catch up like on sleep. I'm coming out of this too, and I'm trying to like respond to all these people and say thank you and all this other stuff. all these people saying they're impressed and inspired, and it took a while to get back to everybody, but I'm going back through them right now, being like, hey, remember how impressed and you were last year?
Right.
Not like, you should come out and ruck with me this year.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it just, yeah, man, that's just, like I said, it is inspiring, and it just, you never really know what someone's going through, and just, you could just have something that just connects with you.
Yeah.
I just feel like as humans, one thing that we understand is physical and mental pain, and seeing someone willing to put themselves through both for something that they truly care about, I feel like, you know?
Yeah.
And one, just seeing someone just, yeah, I mean, you are in shape, but it's no easy. I mean, anyone who put on any type of weight on their back would like understand that it's not easy, even if you just had 20 pounds on your back, to walk around for an hour.
Yeah, it's going to suck after a while.
Yeah, yeah. So it just, yeah, it's freaking awesome, dude. And I loved every second of that video, and it truly is an inspiring thing. And I'm not, you know, I kind of got into the Spartan race last year, and I want to do it again. So if you want to do a 21K,
All right.
we're talking about doing it in June. I got to make sure it doesn't, if it messes with a vacation I'm doing in Oregon. I told Dibby that we have to do one out of state. That was the deal. So,
All right. Yeah, let me know.
yeah.
I can throw in some cardio into my training.
Right. And it's, I mean, it's all super light jogging, because a lot of it, well, the 21K will probably be like a little bit more, but I don't run because of I separated my heel bone when I was 23. But it's like, if it's like light jogging, and then, you know, it was just a lot of physical, it was fun, dude. Cause it's like not, you know, and one thing that's nice, you know, about like someone like you're just super nice guy, super easy to talk to. I feel like people that are in physical fitness and like the gym life and stuff like that kind of gets like a negative outlook on it, you know, like gym bros and girls and stuff. And just all that I've ever seen from people doing physical activities like that, or like what you're doing, is nothing but like positivity, and people just being like cheering each other on. Like at that Spartan races, you know, people in varying phases of their physical fitness journey, but everyone had the same common goal to either get it done or get as far as they could, and everyone was cheering each other on.
That's cool.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. And like I said, it's been kind of fun just reading some of the, you know, the outpouring that, you know, that I've seen you receive from people who, yeah, it's just, sometimes you don't think you got what you need to get something done, and then you see someone, you know, like you doing what you're doing, and it just kind of lets you know it's a little bit not easier, but it's doable for sure. So
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So how many miles did you do overall?
So I made it 54.17 miles in that 4 hours with the breaks and whatnot, but I made it. In the back of my mind, I'd kind of done the math leading up to this, and I was kind of hoping to make it 60, but that 54, I earned those 54 miles.
It's like, we'll start with that.
Yeah. So
did you kind of were you averaging about the same time and mileage for everything? Or did you kind
training
of
wise, I was usually at a pretty good pace. So I was averaging about 3.2 or 3.3 miles an hour training leading up to that. But I thought I would definitely fall off, especially like at night or those last like 10, 15 miles. But I averaged 3.2 miles an hour the whole time.
Wow.
Me and Jamie were both pretty impressed with that. We don't really know how I managed to do that, but
yeah, hell yeah, dude, that's kicking ass, man.
Yeah.
So then, how long did it take you like post recovery? I mean, what did you do after?
Thank God,
you just chill for a week.
Thank God, work was flexible with me and allowed me to move a vacation to the week following the ruck, because I don't think I would have been able to work. I would have been there physically, but the thought of putting like work boots on and my feet were trash, like there was no way I was going to work. Got done with the ruck, ended up back in my room probably like 10 or 11, and I slept for like 28 hours straight. Woke up and I'm like, I need to eat something. So I just crushed a bunch of food, took another nap, but
no like massages or like cryotherapy lined up?
No, I never did any of that. That Essential Health gave me like a recovery type IV.
Yeah.
Not the next day, but the following. So like maybe 48 hours after the ruck was done, I got one of those.
How'd that make you feel? Did you notice it?
She warned me it might give me kind of like a hangover feeling. It's just pushing all that, you know, that nasty stuff, the lactic acid, and stuff, trying to like kind of flush it all your system. But I think I was so tired and trashed to begin with, I didn't really notice that feeling. But the next day, I felt phenomenal.
That's awesome.
But my feet were trashed. It took a couple days to start just walking right. Like if I you know, like 2 or 3 days after the ruck, like if I sat down like to do the like. For instance, if I sat down to do this podcast and sat for so long, it would take me like 20 minutes of like get that stiffness out of my legs, start walking around. Yeah. But it took me a good week to finally start feeling somewhat normal again.
Nice. And then, so when you were already kind of receiving some crazy outpouring from people, it's like, what was it like? Just like you're saying, it's just kind of overwhelming almost. You're just kind of like a dude who's just trying to represent.
Yeah, exactly. Like, all right, okay. Like I thought I had the easiest job. Like I'll just go out and walk for 24 hours. You know, Matt and Jamie can handle the social media, keep me alive, dealing with all that other stuff. And I had my phone on me for a lot of it, and it was just like constantly going off, especially like on Instagram. People are messaging me, and it got blown. I mean, I'm lucky enough to have a lot of people that supported me through that, like good people, my family, Big Sky Bravery, my sponsors, and everybody just blowing that up on social media. Kept just randomly messaging me like, dude, this is awesome what you're doing. And they were like, cool, thanks. You should donate.
Right, when you feel bad kind of doing that. But that's kind of what happened with me with the school thing. I had so many, I mean, I think it had like 90 something shares just on Facebook, and so much amazing outpouring from people from the community. But I'm such a smart ass as it is already. And people are like, oh my God, I think this is such a cool thing. You know, I'm like, cool, dude, throw down 20 spot. I do a little 20 spot on that then. Yeah, dude, it's super cool. One that, like, what does it feel like for you being just a guy to have, it's kind of like an insane, not insane, I feel like I use that word so much, goddamn. It's kind of like a big pressure to have all these people now that are kind of like looking up to you, or I'm sure they're reaching out and maybe telling you some of their stories. And, you know, what is that like for you? Kind of just like, goddamn, dude, I was just trying to do something good, and now you kind of, not like it's a pressure on you, but you know.
But there's definitely, and then me being the person I am too, like I put a bunch of pressure on myself, but I don't want to take all the credit for it either, but what we did last year, we definitely set the bar pretty high. Yeah. And trying to make it a yearly thing now. Like we just got to keep adding more weight, more miles, and raising more money. So, and I'm more than welcoming the challenge.
Yeah, I don't think that's going away. Like I said, just from, I mean, like I seen it and I was immediately like, oh shit, I want to do this with you, which I still want to, but we might be, suppose we have a concert to go to, and I kind of fucked that up, but we'll see what happens. But people like being challenged, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
And then when it's for an amazing cause like this, just obviously people want to come out in droves for that kind of stuff. And when it's just fun to, like, you could be like the next, I don't know what you would call it, just whoever, the next strongman, wherever it's like, oh, hey, let's see if I can outdo Travis for this 3 hours or this 6 hours or something like that.
And just the type of person I am, the competitive, there's that aspect of me too. But if somebody shows up and outrucks me, like, good for you. Like, as long as you bring some, attention to it and you raise some money too, like, bring those people out. Like, at the end of the day, my only mission is for Big Sky Bravery to win. Right. So, I mean, I'm more than willing to set my pride aside. If somebody wants to come out and outruck me, please do it. Right.
Well, that's cool. And like you said, that it gives everyone the opportunity. One, I feel sometimes like when it comes to donation stuff, not to say that it entices people, but seeing someone kind of get physically punished always makes me want to donate just a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Like it wasn't just physical too. Like that was mentally challenging.
Yeah. When people don't, and I just got a small taste of it with that Spartan race. I only did it took me a little over 2 hours, but it's just like, I was training prior to that for 2 or 3 days a week. I would go do like 3 hours of cardio or so, or 3.5. And, just even that little bit, it's like you start getting to a place where it's like, holy shit, I'm so tired. Like, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah. Right.
But once you start pushing yourself past those points, like you're saying, like it became exciting for me when I would hit hour 3 and be like, okay, like I'm tired, but I could keep going and keep doing this. So as you see those, and that's this crazy to think of, like straight up just doing cardio. Yeah. Even if it's, not super, hard, fast running, it's like that shit's hard. You know what I mean? So just a continuous amount of doing it's pretty nuts. So yeah, kudos to you, man. And
thank you.
And so, yeah, hopefully that thing just keeps growing. And then, so are you doing any bodybuilding shows or anything like that?
So, Total Nutrition and Tanning and Field Supplements also sponsor me, and they've made a huge difference last year too. But I had a few talks with Wayne last year and this year already, and I told him my number one goal is this ruck again this year. And it's obviously kind of hard doing training like that and trying to put on some mass. But he kind of helped me out with the training plan to try and hold on to some tissue so I don't just ruck it all away, wither away. So we had been kicking around the idea of maybe doing a bodybuilding show at the end of this year, but kind of see where I'm at after the ruck.
So is it a little bit harder to even just maybe, because what are like the body weight divisions? Are they like 10-pound increments like fighting, or is it, how does that work?
In certain divisions like classic physique, something that I'd compete in, there is a weight cap for my height, but I've usually always been way under that. So.
Okay. So I was going to ask, would it be a viable option to drop down a little bit and try and do something different, or you want to keep kind of the mass that you
I
have
think I'd
on
stay
it?
where I was at.
Yeah. You're good looking, dude. I told these people earlier, you're a little stud muffin, bro. I seen his ass without his shirt on when we were roofing. So and that was like kind of funny too, because like I had done that before. When you're this big ass, strong ass dude, and it's like that shit got a little rough out there.
Oh, dude, that was a rough roof. Dude. And then Paul just totally undersold it. Like, yeah, it'll be super easy. And like halfway through it, I'm like, what part of this is easy?
What in the hell did I get myself? I got this redneck kid fucking talking my ear off, always running around this roof. So what is it kind of funny sometimes? When you're so physically fit and so physically strong, it almost seemed like, not like it was hindering you, but it's just like, you're so fucking big to like get around that
yeah,
roof
right.
and stuff like that. Is it kind of tough for you sometimes when you do certain things where it's like, I should be so badass at this, but you know, it's
there's a lot of times I've got way higher expectations of myself than I really am, but.
So do people pressure you then too, because you are a muscular dude? Like, oh, hey, grab that big ass boulder.
Oh yeah, that happens at work all the time. Like, oh, this is a physical job we got today. They're like, okay, we'll send Travis and Sean to go do this kind of thing, but it's fine.
I'm like, hell no, I'm about equal opportunity employment, dog. Carol over there. Carol right there be looking hungry right now. Get her ass over there. Hell yeah, man. So that'll be exciting because, yeah, and then that's another really awesome aspect of what you're doing. You have the bodybuilding competitions, and obviously we had Wayne on the show a little while back. I know Paris does, Drew did. We all love Wayne and Jake, dude. They're once again, like, we can all find inspiration in different things, but I feel like those guys carry a big weight too of, like me, I was getting sober and I kind of latched onto that whole thing, and Jake and Wayne were instrumental in helping me in my fitness journey. And so yeah, it's like I feel like certain people, whether it's a large or a small following, and like we all kind of carry these different weights. So it's just cool to see, just regular people just creating big waves in a positive sense, and just with how crazy everything is, like with politics and other stuff, it's just nice to see people that are just out there being good people and just creating a positive wave, for everyone out there. So we'll be having to look forward to you, rocking a banana hammock this this winter.
We'll see about that. But yeah.
What if you were to compete? What's the competition? Is it here in town or?
It probably wouldn't be local. It'd probably be out of state. We'll have to look at the schedule.
Is that just because the competition in state you are kind of on a different level?
I think the only one that they have in state is coming up in about 6 weeks in Missoula.
Okay. Oh, okay. So that's what we were
Big
talking
Sky.
about. Where Monster Mike might be
Mike Dorn.
Dude, it's so funny.
So I'll have to look up at the NPC website and see, because they got stuff down in Boise and Washington, and it'd probably be a little trip, but we'll see something towards the end of the year maybe. Because
Jake didn't he do one in Spokane?
Yeah, he did last year.
At the end of near the end of last year. So have you competed in many bodybuilding? How did you kind of get into that? Just another post?
Wayne straight up saved my life with bodybuilding. I just left the sheriff's office. I went through a breakup. I was in a really dark place. And because of that, I was going to the gym. I was unemployed, lost my identity at the sheriff's office, just felt like a loser, Not a whole lot of good things were going on for me in my life at that point. And mentally, I was just not in a good place. And the only place that took that, that pain away was the gym. So I was going to the gym like 3, 4, 5 times a day. Because that physical exercise was the only thing that took that mental pain away, but also like I knew if I physically exhausted myself to that point, like maybe I could actually sleep that night.
Yeah.
And then I ended up posting a random picture from that ridiculous training I was doing, and Wayne's like, "Give me 7 weeks and I bet you can win the Mighty Mo." I'd never done a bodybuilding show before, and I'd always made fun of dudes, like canning and oiling up and flexing with each other, and I'm like, I'm never doing that. Wayne's like, "Give me 7 weeks."
2 weeks later.
Yeah. Wayne's like, "Give me 7 weeks." And at that point, I'm like, dude, if I need a goal in front of me with some purpose.
Yeah.
So I'm like, screw it, man. Let's do it. Went to the store, hooked me up with a training plan, a diet plan. And for those 7 weeks, I finally had a purpose, a goal, something,
When I was gonna say, as someone who's ex-military, it's probably very helpful to you to have like an end goal, a reason and a rhyme to what.
I was in a very self-destructive point in my life. Like Wayne, literally saved my life with that prep, and then I ended up winning that first show. I think I was 30 years old. Offered me a sponsorship, did an off season, structured. Came out, got a job, came out of that dark place a little bit, and then did 2 more the next year. I took a year off and then did 2 or 3 more.
Nice.
So I think I've done like 5 maybe or 6.
Have you won any, or what's the highest you've placed in?
I won 2 out of the 3 here, and I did 2 out of state.
Okay.
And I placed at both, but I didn't win those.
Nice. So what does that do for you differently than, like, say, what the ruck does? I mean, you're obviously pushing yourself in it.
Yeah, bodybuilding is literally the most selfish sport you could ever find.
Hell yeah.
But I mean, you win an overall, and they give you like some sort of trophy, whether that be like a sword or a hammer, or something cool at the end. Like, that's awesome, hanging that up over your head after like a 16 week long prep. But like at the end of the day, like that's just a trophy that goes on your wall. Like,
right.
you only win. But being able to do something that impacts people's lives, guys, women that really need it, like our best soldiers out there, like making a wave and impact in their life is so much more rewarding than just like a selfish personal goal. I
meant as far as like the physical, pushing yourself physically.
Oh, gotcha. So like a bodybuilding prep, like, yeah, it is physical, but that 1-2 hours a day you're training at the gym is actually the easy part.
Okay.
It's the other 20 hours where you're hungry for that entire time.
The cutting and everything else.
Constantly being around people that are eating. You can't eat. You got to wake up, immediately do your fasted cardio. You got to stay on top of your cooking, weighing everything to the gram, and then literally just being hungry for 4 months.
God damn.
Like a bodybuilding prep really isn't that physical. It's
Beauty
all
is pain.
mental.
Well, and it's just you stack on the weight, so you're dumping, getting all that shit stacked up, and then it's the hunger strike after the fact that's probably the worst.
Then it screws with your sleep, and then you get so, you're in such a calorie deficit for so long, like the thought of like walking to the bathroom just to go, take, pee in the middle of the night, like you don't even have the energy or want to do that. Like you're just like a walking zombie at the end of it.
That's insane. And I never thought like I would be interested in that, but it just, once again, like when you don't understand something that you're not a part of or that you don't see, it's like, a bunch of oiled up, tanned up chicks and dudes fucking being bros or whatever. And then once again, like once you see the culture and like what people are doing, it's just a lot of people that, don't get me wrong, there are dickheads and just like in anything.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's just like a lot of love for everyone else and this everyone wanting everyone to succeed. And it's actually kind of fun to watch, especially now that like I know a couple of people that do it and that are in that kind of world. And it's always fun watching Jake. He's got such a big ass smile.
Oh, right.
I was like, you need to not smile so much. He's so tan, and then he's just got the perfect white teeth, and he's got
big blue eyes.
Yeah. He's just got that perfect smile, dude. He's blinding me with it. So.
It's easy supporting Jake though, for sure. He's such a good guy,
dude. And him and Wayne, like I said, both man, they try to not take very much credit, but they were extremely instrumental.
They deserve a lot more credit than they take.
And one, I mean, like I said, I mean, I could tell a story. You were just telling yours. I mean, I feel like there's so many people in this community that if you ask them, that those guys helped out in one fashion or another.
Oh, for sure.
Awesome. Well, I think where are we sitting at, Paris? You got anything you want to touch in with Travis?
About an hour and 5.
Okay.
No, I think that was all interesting and so cool that you do that. And
cool.
When you get that all out, we'll push that as much as we can.
I'd appreciate that. Thanks. Yeah.
So you have Instagram. Do you want to let people know like your social on Instagram and then where they can go follow this story and then potentially donate in the future for the rest? Yeah,
for sure. The big one would be Big Sky Bravery. You could find them on Facebook or Instagram. And then mine is the.travis.smith. On Instagram, I'll be pushing a bunch of stuff. That video we've talked about is on Big Sky Bravery's page, mine, True North Athletic Therapy, and Fueled and TNT's page as well.
Okay. Yeah. And then is there any other like sponsors or anybody that you want to shout out?
Yeah, big, True North, Jamie McCafferty owns that. She was instrumental with the whole ruck. She's sponsored me through bodybuilding shows. I did the tactical games and most importantly the ruck. A lot of credit goes to her for keeping me alive for 24 hours. She had a pretty hard job of that. And then obviously Wayne and Jake at TNT and Field, they sponsored me in bodybuilding too, and they made significant donations and help for last year, and they've got plans to do it again this year. And plus they're just great dudes. They got great products. Like, I'm lucky enough to be sponsored by 3 different businesses that I truly I love back more,
Right.
So
you truly believe in.
And I'm proud to wear their stuff. And then big shout out to Matt Ennis and George Mason for all the photography and videography work they did for last year's Ruck.
Yeah, we're gonna have to edit that part out. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't know him real well, but he seems like a really good dude.
No, Matt donated a significant amount of his time.
That's awesome.
And then didn't expect a dime in return. So
yeah, well, like I said, the video and the photography was amazing on that whole thing. So
and then obviously Big Sky Bravery for doing what they do. So
yeah. Heck yeah. Well, yeah, I think that we're kind of getting to that point. I just wanted to take a quick second. I had the privilege today to go up to the state capitol in Helena and fight against an anti-union bill called the Right to Work bill. I don't care where you sit, left or right. This isn't a left or right situation. This is doing what's right for the blue collar people and the people that help build this country and build America. And I just... no matter what you do, pay attention to what's going on in your local politics. I don't care if you are left or right. Just pay attention and stand up for what you believe in. I had the privilege to go and protest the Right to Work bill, and we put it down 2 years ago, and hopefully we will do that again. And I love the union and everything you guys have helped do for me. Like I said, just no matter what you believe in, stand up for what you believe in, and dig your feet in the ground when it's necessary. So this is Jake and Paris at Through the Ropes podcast. Thank you very much. Paris, you got any socials you want to throw out there?
Just Fresh Bread Productions. My mic is dead.
Oh my God, damn it. I keep forgetting that. Fresh Bread Productions, like we said at the beginning, Paris is an amazing photographer, does some amazing video. He's going to be working with the Great Falls Electrics. He just took some amazing photos up at Showdown. So if you need anything like that done, go ahead and check it out. It's Jake, Paris, and Travis, Through the Ropes podcast. We'll see you soon. Peace.